I'm going to create air traffic control. So the speaking rule for air traffic control is that if you are on camera, go ahead and raise your hand. That's how you're going to ask that I'd like to speak. If you do not have your camera on, Van Dale, just unmute and say your name. Or you can raise your virtual hand. And if 2 or more people go at the same time, I'll acknowledge all and establish an order. And now using the speaking rule, I'm going to engage and interact with every attendee. So we're going to have everyone introduce themselves. Keep it kind of short because we have quite a few people today, but we're just going to do your name, location, and one problem you're having right now with virtual meetings. So here, I'll give you an example. We'll come back here. If I raise my hand, I'd say, go ahead, John. And I'd say, hey, I'm John Chan from Seattle, Washington. And my challenge is I have to get 13 people to remember 6 things before the end of 16 minutes. So that's my challenge. Okay. So who would like to go next? Let's go to Beverly, then Michelle.
My name is Beverly O'Donohue. I am from Los Angeles, and I teach yoga online, and one of my big challenges is that my computer keeps dropping out. The screen blacks out, and I have to log back into Zoom, and it takes about anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes to log back in. So I lose a lot of time in my classes, and I'm attributing it to an old computer. I have a 2010 MacBook Pro, so I'm upgrading, and hopefully that resolves the problem. And I sometimes have bad internet connections, which is also a bad problem.
Yeah, 2 pieces. Thank you so much, Beverly. Upgrading your computer, you got to have some of the latest right now, and especially if your computer is not stable, it's not only in this case a bummer, it's messing up with your work. And so, you know, looking for that, you'll see that some features like this, seeing 50 people on a screen is dictated by the type of processors that you have. And for you to be able to see people on your screens, that's your value, is interacting with them. The second one in your internet is, are you directly plugged into your internet modem? No, do that. Either move your computer as close as possible or plug in. So even for my birthday party, we had a complete outdoor studio, but I moved my cable modem downstairs, right, which is connected to another cable plug, and then hardwired out of the window to a router that, so I could actually had 5 or 6 computers that were all hardwired into a 700 megabit per second router. I can tell you, plugging in, somebody else just recently gave me, he's a salesperson, he told me that he plugged in, he hasn't dropped a frame ever since he's plugged in. And so that's really key. So these sound like simple tips, but this is what prevents those technical problems. Even when my computer was right next to the Wi-Fi, I still dropped frames, but by plugging in, it made a difference. Okay, who else would like to go next? Oh, Michelle. Remember to unmute Michelle. Michelle's looking for her button. She's still looking for a button? We're asking her to unmute.
Okay, my challenge is unmuting. I'm Michelle from Glendale. And besides unmuting and every other technical challenge that comes along with Zoom meetings, I want to make it even that much more challenging by doing it from a barnyard with 8 or 9 goats, 7 chickens and 2 bunny rabbits. So there.
Yeah, you got to get your pets to pay your internet bill. Oh, no, just kidding. Michelle and I actually ran a program too, and I saw some of those technical challenges, Michelle. So she actually has, she's with Hello Critter Yoga. They actually have goats that used to do yoga with people when you could do it in person. And she's also adapting by getting her goats on meetings where people are actually paying for that. That technology is really a key piece, especially with the animals, because they are really engaging people. That's different. You put a goat inside of a Zoom window while you're having a meeting. It's definitely entertaining. I'll definitely say that. But yeah, learning how to use all the different technology pieces. You solve one at a time, that experience becomes even better, Michelle. So I'll definitely be able to help you with those. Okay.
I'm excited. I'm getting security cameras for the barn. Working on that now since our meeting. So
good.
One piece at a time, as you say.
And yeah, find a way to connect those internet. By the way, here's another piece that we have. This is one of my tips for my friends, is video signs. So we have a whole collection of these video signs. So this is one that, you can actually do yes, no, and other types of things. And they're actually quite entertaining. Takes nothing of the audio channel. And people are like, oh my goodness, where did those come from? So you can just print those out on your printer. Who else would like to go? Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Let's go to Andrea.
I'm Andrea Dreesen. I'm the Chief Boredom Buster at No More Boring Meetings in Seattle. Hi, John, fellow Seattleite. And I think my number one challenge as a presenter is working with companies whose online platform doesn't support necessarily breakout sessions, and or there are too many people to make breakout sessions practical. So what are some things that can be done to engage attendees beyond the chat, beyond signage, beyond unmuting?
Excellent. Yeah, Andrea. Number one, I'll go through my top three. This is in terms of engaging tools. Number one, audio, video. We all know how to use this. This is the first thing that we do. Chat is number two. So you're right on the track with chat. Breakouts is number three. And why breakouts is so important, we teach it in our second level class, is because it changes the dynamic. It really, truly changes the dynamic. People won't talk in this, like even this 12, 13 person audience. But if I put 2 or 3 of you in a room, you know, there's only 2 or 3 of you. You really need to engage with that. Beyond that, Andrea, there are other ways. So I would say chat is definitely up there. Poll, some other tools like that. And today we'll actually give you one that you could actually do. The key is to break them up into different groups like this. Even if you don't have breakout groups, we can still use simultaneous tools. It's where you can do some team type things and get a breakout like dynamic. Okay, Andrea? Excellent. Who else would like to go? Let's go to Claire and then Awana.
Hey, my name's Claire and I'm in Grinnell, Iowa. And I, again, have a team of 15 to 16 people, and trying to introduce them to breakout rooms through Teams has been a little challenging. So ideas of polls or chats and how to stage them throughout like a retrospective or, you know, 1 or 2 hour meeting. So some ideas on that. And getting to turn on video, because we all have bandwidth issues. I even myself do too. So, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. You know, number one is that Claire is actually in a location too, where I think 4 people are simultaneously on video, and she's in a rural location. And this kind of leads me to Claire, this new part of diversity that you really need to look at. And I think there's 2 new dimensions. One of them is your technical ability. So like Beverly's computer, right? Claire's internet, you know, in rural locations, if you don't have that capability, sometimes you have to design your meetings in a way to engage people, even if their video is not on or off. As you can tell, there's a big advantage for having the video on. But if it happens to be off, there's definitely some things to do. And then your other one is, even if you have the technical abilities, is your technical knowledge with inside of that. So being knowledgeable about a feature. My number one tip, Claire, and I'll show just a few today, and you can see some more in class too, is introduce one at a time. Really look for what and have success with one. Sometimes reuse that one until your group gets some familiarity and success with it, and then move on to the next tool. So introducing each one of those with a positive experience is really something to do that. And sometimes you need to do it with something innocuous before you do it with something work-based, because there's nothing worse than having something that's important to them at work and that you, for instance, like in a poll, for whatever reason, I could not participate, therefore I feel like my voice is not heard. So. Okay, thank you, Claire. Let's see, let's go to Juana in Buenos Aires. Hola.
Hello, everybody. I'm Juana from Argentina. Sorry for my English. I work at an international beauty company that is now merging with another one, and I changed my job, and now I have to summon and lead a group of interns from all over Latin America, and I don't know them personally, and I want to do something fun and different that is not the same as the rest of the corporate meetings, just to engage with like younger people like me. So same as Claire, new ideas.
Thank you, Juana. Yeah, we've been working with interns at some other companies, a big financial company, and they designed some trivia games and scavenger hunts with their intern programs. You know, and the interns are missing that experience. They expected to be at that corporate office and have that 3 months of learning, and they're not getting that. So they're just in their house logging in. So making something different of that experience is definitely something that you can do. You'll see a few ideas here, and if you want to stay afterwards, I can give you a few other things if it's not covered during the time. Let's see, who else would like to go? Let's go to Anto, thank you. And then Brett.
Hi, so I'm Anto, and I run virtual online tours of the city of Paris. And it worked pretty well during the lockdown, but now it's kind of fading off. So we're looking into how to make it more team building friendly, and we don't have any experience whatsoever with team building. And it's why we're here to try to learn about how to make it more appealing to companies to come and visit Paris.
Perfect, Anto. We definitely have an experience for you. And again, I wrote a book in 2011 called 50 Digital Team Building Games. And so we'll give you some of those ideas that really have still stuck. That's what's amazing is some of these things I wrote about 9 years ago are more true than ever. And so that's what I'm excited to see. Oh, Van! Oh my goodness. Van gets massive points because that's a book citing there. So that's the original book in 2011. So thank you for that, Van. Let's head to Brett, and then we'll come back. I did not pay Van to do that, by the way. Brett, can you hear us?
My audio working?
Yes, there you go. You're in the BHAM.
Okay. Yeah, so my issue is that we transitioned from live events where we were having 200 to 400 people a month, and the main issue is networking, and we've tried multiple platforms over the last 4 months to try to help people with networking, and some they're good because they might say like the title of the person underneath the name, or you can have something to kind of have an idea of finding the right people to talk to. But breakout rooms just seem to be, they're okay, but they're seeming very one-dimensional. And I'm wondering, if you normally use Zoom for things like this, or are there other platforms? And we've looked at dozens. Some have amazing features, but it's $6,000 to $20,000 per use, which doesn't fit our budget. So I'm wondering if you have any ideas of how to help people, engage in ways when it's a business-to-business environment that it's kind of networking, but we also are very focused on being very human and relationship-oriented and more neighborhood-like. So it's not typical networking either.
Yeah. Thank you, Brett. Again, we run a happy hour every Wednesday and Friday, and we have people from around the world that call in. There are definitely a lot of platforms. I still think that Zoom is doing some of the better things in terms of audio and video, like even in degradation. So let's say that Claire starts to have low signal. It'll freeze her video, but you'll hear her audio, and then you can hear some tricks that other video platforms are not using in terms of either elongating vowels or trying to speed up and catch up once her audio finally catches up. So there are definitely some things to do there. I think, Brett, you might be looking too, is the other parts, a lot of the platforms are offering user control. And what I mean by that is in breakout rooms, it's not that where I set you, you might want to choose where you want to go. And that's a lot of where all the other platforms are going. By the way, if anybody upgraded to 5.2.2 Zoom, it came out yesterday. No, if you haven't seen it, maybe Anto. So if you haven't, I would suggest that. Brett, I do believe there's two key features. One is you can rearrange the windows, and I can rearrange them, and that's how they will show up also on your screen. So that's sometimes useful for, especially for team building exercises. The other one that's really important is I believe you'll be able to self-direct yourself in breakout rooms. So there's a way to designate to allow people to move. There is a crafty way to do it in the previous versions, which is you co-host everybody. Slightly risky, but it is really, I've heard people actually use it successfully, right? If you have a friendly group that you can do that. So, and I have seen a lot of other platforms, Brett. I reviewed them for a conference. I reviewed 20 of them. So if you want to stay afterwards, I can share some of my insights with you. Okay, excellent. Let's see, who else would like to go? We have a few more left. Let's see, I think we're to Mickey and Van. So Mickey, would you like to go first, or would you like to?
Yeah, I'm Mickey Wallace, Muskegon, Michigan. I'm the Diversity Director for Health West. My challenge for Zoom is I'm doing weekly presentations with groups of 30 and more, and we'll be rolling into doing trainings with an organization of about 400 employees. Wow. And so I'm looking for ways, like many of you, to engage effectively.
Yep. Thank you, Mickey. And yeah, thank you for your diversity and inclusion work. I think it's more important than ever. I really think, too, something that we'll talk about just a touch of, and we cover in our second class, especially in diversity and inclusion work. Here's the invisible thing that I'm hoping to create that you can't see. And that's psychological safety. So inside of this box, how do I create it safe enough so that you feel safe enough to contribute to this meeting? And so those are some of the hidden things that I'm doing here, Mickey, that I'll give you some ideas about. I'll reveal at the end of this meeting. Okay. Van. So Van, I saw you come on camera. I don't know if you have a moment now. There you go. Yay. Thank you. How are you?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. So I bought John's book 11 years ago, and it's crazy. You were just before your time. I mean, who would have known? 11 years later.
Thank you for that. So yeah, Van, what's one of your challenges that you got going on?
Similar to what others are doing, right? We have team meetings that we're trying to keep engaging. We have a department huddle every Wednesday at 2. We do like announcements, random department things for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then we try to do a 10-minute activity. So I keep scrounging for ideas and games, and I feel like I've done it all. So any new ideas I welcome.
Great. Like I said, we'll show a few, and then if you want at the end, I can also talk to you. I just did Executive Development Institute's happy hour yesterday, and we previewed a whole fun collection of interactive games. They had a blast. They was like, I've never seen that kind of happy hour before. So
I love it.
good to see you. Thank you so much. I know Van was around that. We were trying to sell these concepts about facilitating team building on virtual programs for over a decade, and people were like, "No, I'm just going to pay you cash for that face-to-face thing." And then, like March, people suddenly got interested. So let's head to Zoe.
Oh, I just wondered if Dale is willing to be on camera. We haven't touched base with him yet.
Well, let's see. Hi, Dale. Dale's from Gardner, Colorado. Let's see if Dale's come on. I will. There we go.
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Dale. How are you doing?
Well, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't usually use my video. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining in. What's one of your challenges that you have besides that?
Just getting files into the shared screen. I have a hard time making it flow smoothly, and people, you want to get it to flow smoothly, otherwise people get antsy.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. So thank you. That's actually a perfect transition. So let's see, Zoe, did we get everybody? Is that right?
Good.
Yeah. So speaking of which, is one of the pieces here, at least for me, is that by default, I'm always sharing what's on this main screen right here. And that in this case, I have PowerPoint running behind it. I never stop. So one of my pet peeves is to not share PowerPoint that's not in presentation mode. And so you can really have it ready. And so the other parts is in producing, if you are the producer and you're the one who's in charge of sharing the screen, is to have things ready. So in other words, like if Zoe was the one who was producing my screens today, and in this case today I am, but if I know I'm into that, like as I'm talking to you, one of the things that I'm doing is already pushing the button. So like here, I'm on screen 1. And so the next thing that I do is that as soon as I transition to the next point, I can click this button and then I can say, oh, great. Well, now we've engaged and interact with every attendee. We're moving on to the next stage.